I love the smoke. Thank you. I'm going to be the first person to come out here and say I have one disappointment about being here, and it is that I didn't get a sign around my body like that last lady. I wish I'd had a sign. I'm also probably, for two reasons, the most excited person to speak today. And the first reason is it's the first time I've ever spoken at Turning Point, so I'm glad to be here. My second reason, I don't think any speaker can match. My daughter, Katie Paxton, is a member of the staff, and she's here for her first conference. So Katie, wherever you are, I'm glad we're here together. So I want to talk about three things that I think we need to focus on and not forget, even though I'm excited that we won the election, now it really matters what we do. Because if we don't do the right things in the next 4 years, we could easily be back in the same situation we were with another Joe Biden or Obama. And so one of the very first things we need to focus on, and you've heard a lot of speakers already talk about it, this lawfare issue. Now, for those of you who don't know me and haven't followed what's happened to me over the last 10 years since I've been AG, before I was AG, Attorney General of Texas, I had never even had a speeding ticket or a parking ticket. I'd never been in trouble in my life. I've come AG, first I get debanked by 4 different banks. Then I get indicted, I get sued by the SEC, they try to take away my law license, which they're still trying to do. The FBI investigates me for 4 years under the Biden administration, and then I get impeached by supposed Republicans. I was shocked when this started happening because I was thinking, I'm in America. Not only am I in America, but I'm in Texas. Actually, a quick aside, when I first met the president and his wife, I gave them, you know, the red hats that y'all are wearing that says, Make America Great? I gave them a little different version, and it said, in the same color, same style, it said, Make America Texas. That's not a bad thing. So my experience, my most recent experience, a year and a half ago, I was impeached by the Texas House after just being overwhelmingly elected. And they did this without any due process. I don't think anybody suffered less due process than I had. They did it in 3 days at the very end of session over a holiday weekend. I wasn't allowed to come in with any evidence. They didn't interview any of the witnesses. They didn't swear them in. We didn't know who they were. They put a gag order on me so I couldn't respond. And they did it during a period of time after my campaign where I'd just been elected by the people of Texas overwhelmingly when I had no money. And because of the rules during session, you can't go raise money. And I don't know if you've ever tried to hire lawyers without money. It's not very easy. And despite all that, by the grace of God and because of the amazing people of Texas, despite the fact that the politicians wanted to take me out, the establishment, I survived it, and on all 20 counts, I was cleared. And look, this was a combination because of the things that we do. We might be a little controversial. We sued the Biden administration over 100 times in the last 4 years. 3 weeks after I announced that I'm investigating Pfizer for lying about the vaccine, I get impeached. I also might have sued a couple of other big companies. I think I've sued Google 5 times, Facebook, a lot of other big companies that deserve to be sued for censoring. But those are the types of things now that instead of, if they can't beat you at the ballot box, they come after you with the legal system. And if you're making a salary in state government, I can tell you my salary in state government for a year, if I could have used all of it, would have paid for 1 month's legal bill during the entire time I've been in office. I've incurred over $100,000 a month in legal fees trying to fight various ways of taking me out of the office that are not ballot box related. And I am so excited that we've got choices for Attorney General Pam Bondi and Kash Patel for the FBI. And I'm telling you, we need to encourage them to clean house because right now we have an FBI and Department of Justice that are not about justice. They're about political witch hunts and taking out people that they disagree with, and that needs to change. The second thing, and obviously you can't do much about this, and the second thing that we need to focus on is our budget and the deficit. If you'll remember, when George W. Bush finished, from the time of Washington, through the Civil War, through World War I, through World War II, through Vietnam, through Korea, our entire national debt was $10 trillion approximately. By the time Obama was done in 8 years, it had been doubled to $20 trillion. On purpose. And now, after Joe Biden, anybody have the count? You can look it up. I think we just crossed $36 trillion in debt. And I am so grateful that two amazing guys, Elon Musk and Vivek, are going to be there to change our system. And finally, I want to talk about something I think is so easy to forget after winning an election, and that is election integrity. And I want to tell you a little story. When Joe Biden was running against Donald Trump, I had a conversation with the president. I said, look, I'm really concerned that you're going to lose on mail-in ballots. And people think you're crazy for saying that, but I can tell you what happened in Texas and why I believe that happened and why I believe there's election fraud going on still. It's just that this time, the reason we didn't lose is the margin was too big to lose. That's exactly what happened. But I'm going to tell you what happened 4 years ago. In Texas, all of a sudden, out of the blue, we have 12 lawsuits in all the liberal counties. Travis County, which is Austin. Bexar County, which is San Antonio. And in each of these judges are coming out, liberal judges, because those are liberal counties with liberal Democrat judges, and they come out and they tell us that even though Texas law limits who can get a mail-in ballot, now everybody should get one. It's going to be mailed out to everybody. And what's the problem with that? Well, when you request a ballot in Texas, and it's similar in many states, you have to apply for it. You sign the application, so they have your signature. They mail you back a ballot and an envelope. You vote, you stick it in the envelope, and you sign the envelope, and they can at least compare signatures, and it's limited to certain types of people. You got to be disabled. You have to verify that you're going to be out of the county during the election. You have to be over 65 or you're in jail and you're not a felon. Other than that, you can't vote by mail. So it's limited. And yet these judges were saying, okay, we're not following Texas law this year because of COVID. We're just going to overrule Texas law, fiat from judges. And so we ended up in 12 lawsuits. And I told the president, I said, if we lose any one of those lawsuits, you won by 600,000 votes the first election. They are going to find a way. If Harris County has 7 or 8 million ballots, you're not going to win Texas. And I think he was shocked by that. I'm not sure he believed me. But sure enough, we fought, and we ended up winning all 12 of those lawsuits. Yeah, it was huge. But when I saw on election night, and I was with a bunch of my staff, and I saw what was going on election night. And you remember, it's the first election in my lifetime where they stopped counting votes. They stopped counting votes. That was not an accident. They needed to catch up because Trump was winning by more votes than they expected. And I went home at 10:30 when Trump was ahead in all of those states, all the battleground states, he was winning. And I told my staff, I'm going home because I know exactly what's going on here. This is over. They are going to stop counting the votes, and they're going to count mail-in ballots until they get to the right number. And sure enough, it took 3 days, but they got there. And that's the thing, if you'll remember, we ended up suing 4 of the states. We sued them because we were arguing that they didn't follow their own state laws, the way they mailed their ballots out. And under the Constitution, they are required to follow their own state laws, and they didn't do it. And so we sued those 4 states, and unfortunately, the Supreme Court, at least 7 members said we didn't have standing, which is crazy, and we weren't able to finish that lawsuit. But the reality is, that's how they won. And this time, even though we won, I can tell you, why do you think that Joe Biden came out? He didn't wait a month. He didn't wait a week. On the first day of his administration, I don't know if you all remember this, but he announced that he was no longer going to deport people who came here illegally. Why? Why is it a rush? And why would you want to publicly announce that you're not going to deport anybody, to tell the cartels? He's telling the cartels, bring people here. We're no longer going to arrest them. You don't have to hide from Border Patrol anymore. Just bring them to us, and we'll transport them to the states we need them in. And I am convinced that that was their plan this time. And you know what the problem was? We got too many people out voting for Donald Trump, and their plan didn't work. And that is a credit to so many people working. I know that my daughter came out here with this organization, with Turning Point, and I want to thank Charlie Kirk for the work that he's doing. It's amazing. It may be the best effort at attempting to affect the youth that we've ever had. But I know that my daughter came out here and she walked door to door in Arizona, even though she lives in New York, and Trump won Arizona. Trump won Arizona. I think my daughter was part of that. And it was so exciting for me, 2 days before, the Sunday before the election, I had the opportunity to meet with Elon Musk at his house for a couple hours to talk about the election. And aren't you all glad he's on our side? So I was talking to him. I spent about 2 hours, and we were going over election, and he told me, he had all this data, and he told me how we were reaching out to Republicans we'd never reached out to before, and he told me, he said, I can tell you right now, I'm responsible for this. He said, I'm involved in every battleground state, and we're going to win every battleground state. And I am convinced that whatever he did, whatever rocket science thing he did, made a huge difference in this election, along with getting people out to vote like this organization did. So there is truly hope for the future because of what you all are doing, for the involvement of getting new voters and getting younger voters involved in this process. Because we have 4 years, and we shouldn't waste a single day. We need to fix this lawfare stuff so that we have a justice system that we can trust. We need to balance our budget and cut our debt so that you guys are not paying the debt off for the rest of your life, and so we don't bankrupt our country. And then we need to make sure that our elections are free and fair, because if we have the opportunity to get our ideas out, we're going to win a lot of elections. So I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to open it up for questions. And they tell me that there's a line back here somewhere, and I'll assume that
start here.
These are the two lines, and I don't know what order I go in.
Yep.
Why don't we start over here?
Good afternoon, Mr. Attorney General. My name is Duke. I live in Williamson County, Texas.
All right.
I've personally written you letters and called your office encouraging you to run, and my question is, when are you announcing that you're running against John Cornyn for Senate?
How about if I say this? Not yet. So we are definitely, I am praying about it. We are looking at that. I'm talking to a lot of people in Texas over the next couple months.
Yes, sir.
And ask me that question in a couple of months, and I'll have a different answer. So thank you. Let me ask this. This is like my first, I have not run a poll, so this will be my first poll. Who would want me to run? That's good. Let me just say that was a very encouraging response. Next question over here.
This will be the last question.
Thank you, Attorney General Paxton. My name is Brian Bidney. I'm at the Parker County Conservatives. We're glad that Glenn Rogers is out. Mike Walcott's in, and I want to thank you for everything you're doing on the border. And can you give us an update on your lawsuits with that?
Okay, so our most recent lawsuit was about building the wall. Congress appropriated money for the Biden administration to build the wall, and as you might expect, he didn't do that, and he started selling off assets. So Texas sued him, me, and we finally, it took several years, but we got an injunction to stop him from doing that. However, we're back in court, and by the way, on December 23rd, the response has to come from the Biden administration, because we went back to court because we were hearing stories that the Biden administration was selling off assets that they were not supposed to sell out. We will find out, because the Department of Justice on December 23rd, which is my birthday, has to come in and answer that question. So we will find out. So I am told that was the last question. Thank you. God bless you for everything that you're doing. Bye. Thank you.